I am a bird, perched upon my steel podium, glaring at the world beneath my feet. A concrete oasis betwixt the mighty Pacific and those eastward pillars of aluminium. A landscape littered with corpses, life still draining from their smoldering eyes. I crane my neck to the passers-by on adjoining streets, laughing as they scarf down the latest installments from the capitalist wet dreams. I wonder if their howls are a sign of a truer sardonic nature, but I imagine I cast too much responsibility on the creatures of the dry lands. In my stillness, I can picture its former glory. Neighborly children scattered about the stoops, greenery filling the cracks in the pavement, dead soldiers at every step, the kind that cut the soles of your shoes and rip relatives from their homes. A world in itself, marked by the narrowly afloat mini-mart and barbed wire at the other end. Those living here dream not of the world beyond the corner boys, but settle in their own festering economy, believing only in themselves to keep the earth revolving throughout their fleeting epochs. And revolve it does. For Time Zero cares not for those homegrown beasts nor the heroes who mark them. Well-intentioned men, sure, but vicious and arrogant in their practices. They hide within metal frames beneath the howling sirens and sick their hounds on beggars when the action slows. Governed by the affluent, who see the potential in property over men. Apex predators. Two commonalities between them. The sadistic primal nature of their forefathers, those before them, so on and so forth. Then, that lingering sense of finality all creatures maintain. Two worlds condemned to a shared fate. No soul is absolved of that inexorable departure. But I digress. To the rhythm of my palpitating heart. Perhaps I am life's exception. An avian watchman bound to this ill-fated habitat. A modern-day Sisyphus beneath my guise of crinkled feathers, sentenced to an eternity of bearing the weight of the wretched. I don't mind it so much. Perhaps there's a sadness in there somewhere, but I don't see it. Darwinian theory would suggest that I've evolved from some weaker predecessor, but worthier men could not withstand the tests of time. A rare case of the underdog, but I do not fancy myself your hero. What good have heroes ever done us before? No matter. Thursday passed and Inferno made its presence known. A 3-story building engulfed in mere seconds. And behold, those villainous herds as they flocked to the chaos, yearning to satisfy that twisted itch in the darkest corners of their brains. Wine-breathed, glossy-eyed perverts, the lot of them. Vultures in search of the next victim of circumstance. Gaping mouths as they stare down the rotting edifice, marveling at the sable clouds as they wriggle themselves into the sky. grey. How thrilling it must be to soar as high as they do. Much like those circles of blue and white the people exhale. Cigarettes are customary after such a masturbatory event. And spare not a moment for the vagrants undoubtedly swallowed by the flames. Barely an afterthought, never a concern. The city will shed any responsibility as she does. She closes her eyes to those wayfarers, acts as if they wander not our plane of existence. And those who live within her confines abide by her beliefs, for divergence is nothing more than a symptom of anarchy. Or so she says. No doubt some months from now, a condominium will fill its place. Another relic lost and forgotten to the inescapable wrath of modernization. And I know the intentions of the opulent. They mean to rid their earth of inferior beings. They buy out those they can, manipulate those they cannot. For years I've witnessed their crimes, celebrating as they eradicate yet another species from their most recent invasion. Above all else, I envy their contentment. Those gluttonous pigs. What right do they have to such joy, such pleasure? Playing the game of chess with the townsfolk, sending off those pawns like lambs to the slaughter. One could feel sick, and reasonably so. Alas, my omniscience was worth the cost of my humanity. I feel not for the others. I only provide my services of shouldering their burdens, something to ease the misery of their existence, to assuage their fears of the inevitable. For I am not afraid. I never have been. I'd quickly chase death to the ends of the earth, but she only teases me so. And what rapture she must derive at my expense. Not unlike those mediocre sellouts or the self-titled philanthropist, both chasing after their own self-serving highs. That principal sin of man, how it soothes us so. And no different am I from the ungodly wolves or the feckless sheep who cling to their miserly ways. They with their train crashes and I with my thoughts. They feast on the unsuspecting and I on their burdens, nary disrupting our sacred equilibrium. Admittedly, I ask not for this position. Admittedly, I'd relinquish it all without question for a life on the jungle floor. The beasts instill within me no fear. The heroes give me no cause for concern. Death has no bearing on my reality. I laugh in the face of opposition. My flame will not cease. 100 years could pass and I'd still bedevil those tyrants. Yet I am but a fledgling among men. My dreams are much too large for someone of my stature. Defeatedly, I return to my dwelling once more. I scowl at the wind. First the west, then the east. Nearly unrecognizable, my love. Dashed to atoms, paved over, leaving only a place to sit and watch her fade into nothingness. perpetually wallowing in my metal throne above an enchanting void. I imagine life much simpler at the bottom. No more worry or desire, no ultimatums, only quiet. If I wasn't a bird, I would jump.